Hello, beautiful souls. Thank you so very much for dropping by this video. This channel is dedicated to helping people understand the difference between authentic and actual non-duality and nonsense, modernized, watered down non-duality, often called Neo-Advaita. So this channel I started this channel criticizing one particular Neo-Advaita teacher named Mooji, and I moved away from that. And then Mooji got one of my videos taken down, and one of them blocked in Portugal. And so I've kind of feel that it's time to speak out once again specifically about Mooji. It's very uncomfortable. It's very intense to do so. It's one thing to talk about a philosophy. It's another thing to talk about a specific person and a specific movement. It feels very combative, and it's not how I want to be. It's not my first choice, but I sat with it for 3 months after the video was taken down, and just from the depths of my being, I realized I needed to speak up, specifically about Mooji, and also because there's another suicide attempt at Mooji's ashram, and also because apparently there's a little bit of a health pandemic happening there. People are literally wasting away at his ashram from mysterious, like young people, from like mysterious health stuff. If I can find the link for that, I will. Yeah, one moment while I look for that link. Anyway, I'll have to post that later. So as part of addressing specifically, and it's not just Mooji, it's the whole phenomenon of what's grown up around Mooji and the quote community. And now what's happening is you have his students who are now going out and trying to teach non-duality. And I mean, it's insane. It's literally insane. So I've joined this one specific group. You can find it on Facebook, called Mooji Exposed, hidden aspects behind the satsang. And so here, this one Mooji devotee, here's what he wrote. Some are convinced that Mooji and Mante Sahaja are on top of the world. Either this is true or it's not, in a dualistic sense. What matters is if people find what they are searching for. Sometimes detours are more beneficial than shortcuts. Spiritual teachings are neither complete nor true, as truth refuses to be dressed in human concepts. Even if it should always be possible to criticize human behavior, criticism isn't always justified. So this is insane and delusional, and I'll break it down sentence by sentence. But the main reason why it's so crazy is because at Mooji's centers, there have been 3 suicides. There's been a 4th suicide attempt. Now there's this whole health thing, and I can't find the link for it. I'm very sorry. Mooji has slept with a number of his students. He forces people who live there long term to sign a non-disclosure agreement. I haven't verified it, but there is the charge out there that he used to tell students that sleeping with him would speed up their spiritual enlightenment. I've confirmed one of these sleeping with his students personally, and who knows how many there are. So it's like this insane asylum pretending to be a ashram. And then this person comes along and says, what matters is if people find what they are searching for. Sometimes detours are more beneficial than shortcuts. Like, people have killed themselves. And here's what this person has to say. Sometimes detours are more beneficial than shortcuts. Spiritual teachings are neither complete, and when I use this voice, I'm using his words. Spiritual teachings are neither complete nor true, as truth refuses to be dressed in human concepts. So this is spiritual bypass. Spiritual bypass is when you take a spiritual truth and you use it in a way where it's actually untrue. So yes, sometimes detours are more beneficial than shortcuts. And this person is using it to deny sexual abuse, to deny suicides, and to deny, and who knows some of the other things. I mean, we don't even know everything that's happening at this ashram. And so this person's taking a spiritual truth and then presenting it in a way that's literally insane. That's what's so nutty about Neo-Advaita, is that it'll take some truth from actual non-duality and present those truths in a way where it's totally insane, to where it's literally insane. Just like this. Like, yes, this person's speaking some deep truth. What matters is if people find what they are searching for. Yes. Sometimes detours are more beneficial than shortcuts. Yes. Spiritual teachings are neither complete nor true, as truth refuses to be dressed in human concepts. Yes. Even if it should always be possible to criticize human behavior, criticism isn't always justified. Yes. This person is speaking such deep truth, but they're speaking it in a context where it is insane, delusional, distortive, but even more important than insane, it's straight up manipulative to speak those spiritual truths in this context. It is an attempt to obscure the suicides, obscure the sexual abuse, obscure the other forms of abuse, such as the non-disclosure agreement, such as the health problems that are happening now to long-term. And so it's not only insane, it's manipulative. It's literally trying to use beautiful, pure, spiritual truths to manipulate and lead us, you and me and everyone who reads that post, to lead us into delusion and untruth, to lead us away from reality. There's a beautiful term that people use. They call it false light. When a spiritual teaching is untrue or presented in a distorted manner, then like, oh, it seems true and helpful, but that's actually deception, and it actually takes you in the opposite direction. So in this group, I used to be angry. I used to be angry that Mooji devotees were allowed into this group. I thought this group should only be for people who've been harmed or who have been, but now I'm actually so grateful, because by letting the Mooji devotees come, like, we get to see their insanity. Like, it's abundantly clear very quickly. I mean, some people will say things like, people would say like, hey, I witnessed this. And they would just be attacked and shamed and criticized by the Mooji devotees. So yeah, initially I was like, oh, I wish the Mooji devotees weren't allowed in this group so that we could carry on discussions without them. And so that those of us who've been deeply harmed by Neo-Advaita could talk about how to heal. But now that they're there, it's great. I mean, it's annoying, but it's actually really good, because so there's like the teaching of Neo-Advaita, which is nasty and distorted. But most of the people who teach it are very elegant, they're very charismatic, and they're expert manipulators. Some of it I think is unconscious, some of it I think is very conscious. So they're very skillful at presenting Neo-Advaita, which is why they're able to rope in so many people. But these devotees, they are not skillful. They are very, well, for anyone who wants to know, you, of course, can check out this group. And actually, they've quieted down. It's so interesting. In the Mooji movement, once negative behavior is called out, the behavior then, I don't know how this happens, but behind the scenes, apparently there's all these mechanisms and people and groups who coordinate, and then that behavior will stop. So it's actually starting to slow down in this group, because myself and other people are just straight up saying, like, you guys are just proving our point. Like, thank you for more evidence. And so as we've said that, then it's decreased. In the early days when I was making all the videos about Mooji, like, there were all these comments from Mooji devotees, and I would just make another video. I'd be like, Mooji devotees are proving what I'm saying, and I would just quote what they said. And then at a certain point, it just stopped. Like, it stopped. And so my assumption is that the Mooji machine, because at this point it's a machine, like, sent out an email telling people to not respond to critics. Oh, it's so fascinating. So I think that's everything I have to share for now. And let me see if there's anything else I want to say. Oh, yeah. So this is the other way you can spot Neo-Advaita. It's an addiction, and people have to use that language. They literally cannot carry on a conversation without using that language. So look at the first sentence this guy said. Some are convinced that Mooji and Monte Sahaja, that's his ashram, his aka insane asylum, that Mooji and Monte Sahaja are on top of the world. Either this is true or is not, in a dualistic sense. So first of all, that makes no sense. No one thinks that Monte Sahaja are on top of the world. Maybe the devotees do. I'm sure the devotees think it's heaven on earth. I've never heard it said that way. But then here's what he says. Either this is true or it's not, in a dualistic sense. One of the big challenges of recovery for me, and it still is to a certain extent, is to learn how to fucking talk, to learn how to carry on a conversation. Because Neo-Advaita, like, controls how you think, and then it controls how you speak. Like, it's still hard for me to sometimes say, to talk about myself and personality and feelings, because there's still this little teeny tiny voice that says, well, that's not you. You're not your personality. And so it's like this person can't even make a post without being like, in a dualistic sense. And recently, one Mooji devotee, I posted a video, and I made a video and posted in this group, and this person didn't respond to anything I said. What they said was, how many times did this guy say I in the video? Because in the video, I was talking about my own experience of recovery from Neo-Advaita. And I responded to him as saying, part of my journey is like reclaiming the word I and redeveloping a healthy personality that can, like, speak and carry on a conversation. Ramana Maharshi would carry on conversations. He'd be like, yeah, when I was a kid, before the awakening, here's what happened to me during the awakening. Like, he was normal. I mean, he was amazing, but he was also just a human being. He was comfortable. He was comfortable with himself. He wasn't like, he didn't have this like mental structure of like, I must not say this or that. I must not use the word I or talk about my personality or personal history. He just hung out and did what he did. Um, and so in response to that, me saying like, yeah, of course I use the word I. Like part of it is like rebuilding a healthy personality. And this person said, I am that. Like this person literally could not carry on a conversation. Oh my gosh. So that's the latest shenanigans in this group. Um, and that's all I have to share for right now. Thank you so very much for dropping by. Have a blessed day.